Hello, welcome to Krachwerke. I wanted to go through what is in the shop. Been really busy populating the shop with the pedals, and it's all done, it's all there. So I wanted to quickly go through what we have. Uh, these boxes are closed. I'm just going to start from the top. This one is a kit build. It's from Jetspads. They sell little circuit kits, and it is just a marvelous sounding low drive kind of very basic circuit. It's called the Electra, but it just sounds amazing. So yeah, I put it in a thing. It was one of the first ones I bought, and I kind of just had it lying around, was playing with it all the time. Anyway, so it's not mine, it's not my design, but I did put it together. Let's see what's next in the box. The first pedals I bought was a volume pedal, which just had a dial, so it's completely passive. And the whole idea is that you put it into you put it into your effects loop, or you put it in between your guitar and your pedal board, or you put it in between your pedal board and your amp, and it allows you to just attenuate the signal that goes in between. Completely passive. So then I got a request that said, well, wouldn't it be good if it was actually in a pedal format? So it does exactly the same thing, but it becomes a little bit more versatile. So you can put it in your chain, you can switch it on and off, and it's a good way to um, get your signal down if you want to. So instead of having to, roll your volume back on your guitar, for example, you can just step on the pedal, you set your volume to a bit lower that you want, and it has the same effect as if you're rolling back your volume on your guitar, but you don't have to kind of mess around with the hand that you're trying to pick with. And that it also has an indication if the circuit's actually on or not. It's not really a circuit, it's really just bypassing the potentiometer or going through the potentiometer, but that there's some sort of visual representation of what's happening, so that it is powered, but only for the LED. So this works unpowered, powered. Really, the 9-volt just goes into the LED to show you if it's engaged or not, and that allows you to use it on the pedal board if you so wish. But essentially, it was designed to go into your effects loop, so that you can attenuate what goes back into your power amp from your preamp. That does a lot of things. Let's say you've got an effects loop, and you've got things in your effects loop, and some of their outputs are a bit too high. You can then attenuate it a wee bit with this. If you've got a massive amp, and you can't get it down to bedroom level, it means that you can kind of cut the volume that goes to your power amp, and bring the level a lot lower if you live in an apartment or something like that. So it has quite a few decent functions in its absolute simplicity. What is next? This is beautiful. So this is the Herrscherin version 2 in its completeness. So the new graphic and the new circuit. But I wanted to see if I can put it into one of these small A-type enclosures, and I did. I'm not going to put any more into the small enclosures. It was quite a puzzle to put them in there. But I love this one. This one's on shop. Anybody who wants a small factor hash and fuzz, this one's for you. This is like Christmas. Oh. So I'm going to set some of these pedals aside because I want to make a video about what is it that people want from pedals. So this is one of my favorites, both from a tone and a look. They're actually not that hard to build, but they are the kind of thing that I like. There's more stuff to play with, and it is heavy as fuck. So This is a larger enclosure. It has a gain and a tone and obviously a volume, and it switches between two input capacitors. This is basically the Hasher and Fuzz on steroids. So it is really, really brutally fuzzy. Perfect for doom and stoner stuff. The input cap allows you to have the full bass response or cut some of the bass response to have a slightly tighter sound. All the inputs are on the one side because, like I said, I'll make another video what people actually want from their pedals. And I feel like there's a lot of questions about the ergonomics of pedals and the usability. So for this one, for example, firstly, with the amount of knobs, I still wanted the switch to be a fair amount away from the knob so you don't actually accidentally step on them. I wanted all the inputs on one side, preferably the top. And with this circuit, with this internals, that was really possible. So yeah, this is for all you doomers and stoners out there. There's two of them available in the shop. And I think price-wise, for what they are, they're pretty damn decent. This is the Tortmo. This is a high distortion, high gain pedal. It's kind of dirty high gain. I want to say it's a bit HM2-y dirty, but it's a little bit more organic than that. So it isn't as strictly hard clippy, but it has the same kind of character as the HM2. It is perfect for high gain stuff. It stacks really well. It's got a really heavy output, so there's a lot of volume coming off this. Gain, tone, and volume. Oh, by the way, Tortmo is basically wild boar in Scots Gaelic. I just liked it, so I used it. My kids go to Gaelic school there in a Gaelic medium, so they help me make sure I don't misspell things. This is a very slight variation on the Tortmo on the distortion channel, but it is pretty much the same circuit. It was just changed slightly because it is integrated with a boost. It's a slightly dirty boost, and the boost also allows you to cut the low end. So this tone knob on this side is kind of like the Rat where, oh wait a minute, yeah, it's kind of like the Rat where you turn anti-clockwise from where you're sitting, anti-clockwise, and it cuts the low end to clean up the low end. So the tone is more like a low cut to clean up the bottom end for leads, chugging, all sorts of things. So this is the classic slightly amended Tortmo distortion channel. This is a boost channel. The boost channel, it has a light drive to it, which means that you can use it by itself as a boost slash slight overdrive pedal. But if you've got your rhythm going and you then want to have a little bit of extra, you know, the whole 11 thing, you switch on this side. You can also do it the other way around, where you play the boost into a slightly breakup channel to give you some nice overdrive. And then if you want to play lead and you need sustain, you can then click this one on. It is fairly versatile in that sense. So I think these are beautiful. And because these are all hand-built and hand-wired, this circuit can possibly be done in a way that the inputs are all at the top. But the way I'm doing that, that's not possible yet. Maybe one day when I actually have PCBs printed, which I don't really want to do because I want to hand build everything, that might be an option. But I'll get into that a bit later, because I want to, like I said, there's going to be another video which is pretty much about the ergonomics of pedals and what is it that people really want and really look for. What's next? What's next? What's next? This was the first. So this is version 2 of the lead belly. It is basically a one stage amplification and clipping, which makes it like imagine a boost overdrive with a bit of a fuzz grunt, quite a bit of a fuzz grunt actually. It's got a really nice tone, and stacked it really sings. It's also quite versatile in the fact that it has a fair decent amount of tone control and volume. So you could boost with it with some dirt, but essentially this is a fuzz pedal in all its glory. I've wondered if that should be the flagship, but I don't know yet. So this is the pedal. So the Tortmo is the distortion. Then they've got the Tortmo Plus, which is the distortion and the boost. And this is essentially just the boost section out of the Tortmo Plus. Again, really a lot of volume comes out of this. It's a boost, a slightly dirty, grunty boost, with the ability to attenuate the bass response, which allows you to use this as a boost pedal, as a low drive pedal, a low gain pedal, or as a pedal to boost a high gain channel or a high gain pedal. By taking off some of the low end, you tighten up the response of it, and allows you to, add some gain to your distortion, and tighten the bottom end for leads or any kind of application in that sense. So, where are we? What's this one? I did not prepare this at all, so excuse me if I'm all over the show. But I've got a lot to do and little time for vids. Now this is the other boost. I've got 3 of the boost pedals on the shop at the moment. Anything that's not in the shop, just send us an email. So this is one of my favorite pedals. There was a lot more work done on the enclosure on this one. This is the Kubokan. There's a story behind this. It's essentially the Herrscher and fuzz, a little bit on steroids, but a little cleaner. So it's much heavier fuzz than the Herrscher, but it is also a little bit neater, if that makes any sense. So it's a little bit more towards the distortion, although it isn't a distortion. The story of Kubokan. So anyway, this pedal, I wanted to make one kind of unique one, but I might actually make this a range. And we were gonna have an exhibition. There's a guy who's got all these guitars signed by famous people, and he was gonna have an exhibition just outside of Glasgow, and we were told, me and some other pedal builders were told, that if we would like to exhibit our pedals there and maybe even sell them, because it's actually inside a gallery. And I thought, yeah, sure, absolutely. But I wanted to build some a little bit more kind of nicer pedals, so not of the obvious range, but something additional. So this was the first one I built, and I absolutely loved the way the enclosure came out. So Kubokan is a few things. One, it is one of my favorite whiskies from Tomaten. It's one of their peaty ones. Kubokan means wispy dog or wispy wolf. Dog and wolf is kind of the same in Scots Gaelic. And the reason they called the whiskey Kubokan is because Intermartin is famously where the last wolf in Scotland was shot. And now there's like this myth that, you know, people see this ghost of a wolf and they believe it to be this last wolf that was killed there in Tomaten, in the village of Tomaten. Obviously, it's usually only seen by the 1 o'clock in the morning by some drunk dude coming out of the pub, but yeah, that's a different story altogether. But I really like this image, and I thought, oh, it's such a nice name. So it doesn't really have any relevance to the fuzz, it's just a nice name. There you go. What have we got here? So this was my first attempt at a dedicated pedal to use as a boost, because I, like so many, am not convinced on the whole tube screamer bullshit. I don't like them. I don't think they do what they should be doing. They create, in my mind at least, a very obvious tone that has just become too common now. Boosting channels, and I don't like it by itself as a drive pedal. So the butt clencher was my first attempt to create a pedal specifically to boost a high gain channel, to do what people say a tube screamer does, which is boost the signal, give it a little bit more oomph, get a little bit more extra, a little bit more sustain, give it a little bit of mid-range, and cut the bottom. To me, there's too much mid-range in the tube screamer, so this one essentially boosts the whole signal but cuts the bottom off, and adds a little bit of extra dirt and sustain to the signal, and that's it. You can use it by itself as a drive pedal, but actually it's more to let your gain channel sing. And so I called it the butt clencher, for obvious reasons, clench that bottom end a little bit. So, lovely pedal. Reverb doesn't want to sell it, probably because it has the word butt in it. But anyway, what you gonna do? So that is the range, and you can find it at krachwerke.company.site, or just go to krachwerke.com and you can go from there. And yes, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our channels. Thank you.